This is going to be our power tip. We're going to call this one a importing an ad into an InDesign template, and we're going to talk about the options that InDesign offers for you to import an ad into an InDesign document. So first, we're looking at this PDF file right here, and if you notice, this PDF file has crop marks and it has bleeds on all four sides. You can see that this main image here is bleeding off on the sides and the top, and also there's a bar at the bottom that is bleeding off at the bottom and the sides. So this ad is bleeding off on all four sides. All right, so now let's take a look at how InDesign handles that and how you can bring in an ad that is going to position itself so it bleeds on all four sides. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to open up an InDesign doc, okay? And right now, it's a single page. And what I want to do here is I want to show you the options that InDesign gives you to bring in an ad with crops and bleeds. So there are actually 3 different ways you can do this. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to File, drop down to File Place, or Command, well, it's Command D, but File Place, all right? And we're going to navigate our way to the ad, and it's called the Eagle Landscape.pdf. Now, instead of just saying Open, we want to say Show Import Options, and we'll say Open. Now, at this point, you're going to notice that when you get to this window, you have a couple of options here. You have Art, Crop, Trim, Bleed, and Media. Well, let's take a look at 3 of these. All right. The first one we're going to do is we're going to look at the trim. So we're going to click on the trim. All right, and then we're going to click off on transparent background. All right, because you want that background to be solid. So we'll say OK. Now in InDesign, if you click and drag, I'm going to show you this right now. If you click and drag, it will scale the image to a size, whatever size you want it to be. But when you're bringing in an ad, the ad must come in at the same size because that's the size that the advertiser made it. So if you just click, don't drag, just click, it drops it in at actual size. And as you can see, here is the ad at actual size, and we brought it in to the trim size, and the trim size, of course, being that black line that goes all the way around the InDesign document. So that's when you import it or you place it at the trim size. Okay, so let's take a look at another option. The other option is going to be File, Place. Okay, File, Place. All right, and then we're going to make sure Show Import Options, it has been checked. Go to the ad that you want to bring in. We'll open it. And then what we'll do is, instead of saying the trim size, let's bring it into the bleed size. All right, so we say OK. And remember, what you have to do is you just drop it. You don't click and drag, because when you click and drag, that scales. You just drop it in. So I'm going to go over to the bleed, the edge right there, that bleed line, and drop it. And you can see now it came in at the bleed size. Okay? So now we have it in at the bleed size, and you can see it's bleeding off on all four sides. All right, one more. Let's do one more. And the other one is going to be at the crop size. So we're going to say File, drop down to Place, okay, and then we're going to click on the ad, and then we're going to say, let's bring it in at the crop size. Now what it's going to do at this point is it's going to bring it in with the crop marks and the bleeds. So what we can do right now is we can just say OK, all right, and then let's just drop it slightly outside, all right. And as you can see, now you see the crop marks, you can see the bleeds. So what you would have to do now is, and I'm going to reduce the size of this so you can see it. Just give me a second here. Okay, so now you would have to kind of like position it on this page. But here's the best way to do this. Instead of trying to manually position it, all right, because the crop marks are all the same size, because the bleeds are the same, all you have to do is center it on the page. So as you have this image already selected, you can go up to Windows, drop down to Objects and Layout, slide over to where it says Align, click on Align, and then you can say, we're going to align this image centered on the page. So you make sure that it aligns on. We'll make sure we say Align to Page. We want to make it centered from left to right, and then centered from top to bottom, and voila. You can see now it is in position with the bleeds in place, and I'll zoom in so you can see this. You'll see that the crop marks are there, and I'm going to view this thing now at display performance. I'll make it high quality so you can see it a lot better. So you can see here's your crop marks, there's your bleed. You bleed at that red line. Here are your crop marks, and of course the trim I'll zoom in a little bit tighter so you can see a little bit better. You know, that trim is this line right here. So that's where it's going to trim to. This is going to be your bleed, and here are your crop marks. So just to recap, when you are importing an ad, especially an ad that has been exported out from the originator, being the people who actually designed the ad, it will probably more than likely come to you as a PDF file, and InDesign can recognize where the trim is, where the bleed is, and if it already has crop marks. So that is your quick power tip about how to import ads into an InDesign template.